We here.
I can stand up.
No, you're good. I just had to like refocus myself because I'm used to looking at people's eyes, so you're good. I am from Atlanta, Georgia. Greatest city in the world. I've decided to take part in this because I believe that more people need to know how much racism exists and the full gambit of how it displays itself. So I work in the music space. I actually own a touring company. So back in 2019, it was really when my company was taking off. I was tour managing my 5th tour of the year. So I'd been on the road for 8 months. It's the last month, in fact, the second to last week of tour. And most of my guys had flown home, and I was riding back with the driver and one of the other artists through the middle of nowhere on the West Coast. So like Northwest Coast, we're driving through Seattle, Oregon. We were just literally in the middle of nowhere. When you're my age and you tour regularly, you have to stop for good meals. You gotta eat vegetables. There's no McDonald's, In-N-Out Burger, none of that. I'm not getting down that way. I have to be able to live and breathe on the road. So everybody on the road knew, especially like off days, we're gonna sit down, we're gonna eat a good meal. So we've been driving for like 2 hours trying to find a spot in the middle of nowhere. So we pass a restaurant and we're like, yo, we should go back to that. So we turn around and mind you, it's a giant Sprinter with a trailer. So it takes us like 15 minutes to get back to this place, right? So we get back and it's 3 restaurants sitting beside each other. So we just randomly pick one. We walk up, open the door, and walk in. I guess that's where the story really begins because it's a small restaurant. It's an odd hour. It's probably like 4:30, so too early for dinner, too late for lunch. So there's only like a handful of tables in the restaurant and probably 4 or 5 servers. So as we're there, I catch the eye of a server. She keeps walking, doesn't say anything. I catch the eye of the next server. She doesn't say anything and she keeps walking. And I just turn around and look at the other 2 guys I'm with. One who happens to be my white driver and the other one who happens to be the only white rapper that was on the tour, and then me. And I'm like, hey guys, have you noticed they haven't spoken to us? And the reason that I started talking to them is because my assumption was, since I walked in first and the 2 guys walked in behind me, they probably assumed we weren't together. We looked like an odd grouping. So I think they were like, well, we'll ignore her and then we'll help them. So I just aligned myself with them and started talking so everybody could tell, you know, signaling to the restaurant and the staff that we're together. A 3rd server walks by. I catch her eye. She tries to act like she doesn't see me. No words. So now we've been here 2 or 3 minutes in a pretty empty restaurant where they've touched every table, and I'm watching this happen and they have not said a word to me. So finally I'm like, hey guys, if one more server passed us and doesn't say anything, we're leaving. And they're like, yeah, this is super weird. And I'm like, well, welcome to my life, right? So we wait maybe another minute, same thing. We catch the eye of another server. They don't say a word and the guys are so weirded out. They're like, yo, let's just go. And so we walk out, we walk to the next restaurant. It's cool, we eat, we do our thing, we head out and we leave, head to the next city, right? The thing that was so impressed on me in that situation is that I was in the middle of probably the height of what I thought my career could be. I had sold out 2 tours that year. At the top of the year, I was working in a coffee shop, and now we're at the end of the year. I have my own driver. I'm sitting in a Mercedes Sprinter on a tour that I created, and I'm tour managing with my artists. So I'm like, up. This is like the dream for me to be here. And even in the midst of that, I'm walking into a restaurant and not being treated like a regular human. Like nobody spit on me, nobody said any type of racial slur, but it was clear and evident that it was a racially charged situation because there was no other reason for them not to serve me. There was no other reason for them not to approach us. They were talking to everybody's table. They were smiling, like I was observing body language. It was clear that they were like, she's not worth our time or not worth our effort. And it's super frustrating because I think a lot of times the microaggressions are what really break us down. Like I've had a gun held to my head before. I've experienced some crazy stories, but it's like racism and all of the bullshit that we have to deal with comes in the smallest ways every day. That was one of those times where I was just so frustrated and fed up because I'm at the height of my life. I'm doing exactly what I want to do. I've created my own reality. I've built my own dream, and yet and still something as simple as a meal. And I tip exceptionally well. Like, they missed out on a crazy opportunity for a fire tip. If you treat me well, especially when I'm doing good in life, I'm liable to leave 50, 60, 70% just to flex, right? Bullshit. So we left. That was the end of the story, but it's something that I think about regularly. Even 2 years later, 3 years later, it's something that bothers me because I experience things like that regularly. And for me to be in Atlanta and to live my life here and to experience a good life here, whenever I go outside of Atlanta, I'm always reminded that I'm Black. And I'm always reminded that I'm other. I'm always reminded that people don't think that I'm good enough. Regardless of where I'm at in life, what I'm doing, who I'm helping, what I'm building, they don't care. They just see the color of my skin, which is so wild to think about. Damn, that's a crazy question. What does it feel like to be Black? Man, to be Black feels extremely powerful. It feels extremely encouraging, empowering. I feel so fulfilled to be a Black woman, to be a part of a legacy and a heritage of such important and powerful people, such incredible thinkers. It feels incredible to be Black, honestly. Since that time, I decided to start a creative agency, which acts like an anti-label. Black people don't own enough in America, and it's because we have to play with this system in order to get what we need. So I created my own system where creatives can own their intellectual property. So artists can own their music, our videographers and our team can own the movies and the things that we make. I'm teaching people how to build their own dream. Mine was to be in music and to affect culture and to really show people that they can do it. I spend my time every day being myself and teaching other people how to build their own dream. To keep going, I would tell my younger self that it's gonna work out. I'm telling myself that right now. I would tell my younger self that life is full of heartache, but it's full of so much joy and beauty as well. It would look like equity and not just equality. It would look like access. Black people are dope. We can't get by sometimes just because we don't have access. We don't need a leg up. We don't need anything. We just need access. So it looks like access, and that's what I'm trying to build. It looks like understanding. I think we've been taught education, and what is education without understanding? So I think it means making everything understandable and letting the secrets be known. Build your own dreams.